Matt Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with Empire, Fight Store and Our Kings Competitions. We're here. Frank Warren. Frank, there's some breaking news I want to touch on just away from this before we talk Dell. Jeff Powell in the Mail reported that apparently Wladimir Klitschko had been in talks to fight Daniel Dubois, but now the idea has been abandoned. What can you tell us from your end from that? Because it's a bit of a shock. Like.
I can't tell you anything about it. You know, Daniel Dubois, I haven't been in any talks about it. His fight will be announced very, very soon.
You confirm, would you not been privy to any of that type of talk then regarding Klitschko return?
Privy to it. I mean, he's promoter. He ain't going to fight unless I say he's going to fight.
But you've not heard anything about a Klitschko. Was that ever considered?
There was somebody mentioned it, but it's not happening.
Let's talk about why we're here. Derek Chisora, you've seen it all with him. You've shared some incredible memories over there. What's your fondest memory of sharing this sort of thing with Del? There's plenty to go off.
Well, we've had some really good times. A couple of bumps in the road on the way. For me, the big fight for me was the Klitschko fight. He gave Klitschko a lot of problems. He won the last round of the fight. He gave him a lot of problems. Probably gave him his toughest fight that he'd had since he fought Lennox Lewis, which was about 8 years before or whatever it was, and he knew he was in a fight. And he'd done a brilliant performance that night.
He's sort of a typical throwback fighter. He's never been bothered about his record. Is he the perfect example for this next crop coming through to say, look, he might be in double-figure losses, but he's headlining in Manchester, just headlined at the O2, he wants number 50. He's a good example for that.
The reason he's in this position because he always delivers as being in a fight. It's always a good fight. You know, war, that's his mantra, and that's what you get in the ring with him. Every fight he has is a war. You know, this would be a war. He can't help it. It would be a war. And Wallin, he really fancies the job. I'm telling you, this will be a war. And he's got this ambition to get the 50 fights, but to get the 50 fights, you've got to win your 49.
Do you believe with Wallin coming now instead of Jarrell Miller, this offers a much trickier opponent in terms of he's a southpaw and big, tall, rangy, a bit of a different animal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But you know, but if you look at Wallin, if he gets anyone in trouble, he's a very offensive fighter.
Jarrell Miller, how long did that negotiation go on for? Because for months on end, it seemed like it was done.
It went on, and unfortunately, it didn't happen. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It's totally irrelevant because we are fighting on the 8th, and it's Wallin versus him. There's nothing we can do about it. That's where we are. So it's irrelevant. I don't want to wait. I've wasted so much breath over the last few months. I don't want to waste any more time on it.
Touch wood, if Derek comes through this, everyone's always talked about a Dillian White. Look, he's enough to go through in terms of Otto Wallin, but you must look ahead and go, it's still been some mega fights. What does it hold for the winner of this fight?
This fight, you know, for both of them, it gets them up until into a higher echelon, and it gets them in a position where we've got these big heavyweight fights coming up. We've got the rematch on the 21st of December in Riyadh, part of the Riyadh season. That's a great fight. And then we'll have Daniel defending his belt in February. So these guys they're looking to get involved in that mix of becoming a mandatory or whatever. So we'll see what happens.
If the rumoured February 22nd card is to happen, is that potentially one of the, if not the best cards to ever be put on in boxing? We keep saying this every Riyadh season show, but when you look at what's been rumoured in terms of Bivol, Beterbiev, Dubois, Parker, and the rest of the undercard, it's incredible.
Let me tell you, the fight when the show is announced, people are going to be surprised. It'll be a great show.
5v5, we saw it last time. Eddie's been talking about it. He wants revenge. Is there something in the offing for maybe the back end of next year? Because I thought that was spoke about for maybe.
We did talk about it for February, but it's going to be pushed back. But we're definitely doing it.
Tyson Fury, have you got an update from him? I know he's training out there in Malta doing his thing.
He's looking really well. He's mentally in a good place. Physically, he's in a good place. He's got the bit between his teeth. He knows what he's got in front of him, as does Usyk. So it's going to be a great fight. There's no doubt about that.
In terms of if Tyson comes through that fight, would the natural order to be have that rubber match? Obviously, 1-1 apiece. Do you believe that happens a trilogy?
I would think that's the way it would go. That's my opinion. But there's a lot of things to be happening. Yeah, maybe somebody might retire. Who knows? But that would make a lot of sense.
How does he beat Usyk this time, in your opinion? How does he believe he does it?
Doing what he did in the first half of the fight. Yep. The last fight, that is.
Frank Warren, I appreciate your time. I know you've got other media. Thank you.